What's up, guys? I'm Mike from StockedUp, and welcome back to the Stocks with Mike and Tom show. We have a ton of great info in today's video. We have some huge news with CCIV and how they are nearing a deal with Lucid Motors. This sent their stock soaring up about 30% today. We're also going to be talking about some general market news, what's going on with the market, and at the end of the video, we have a $12 million option for this Friday. We have a lot of great plays, a lot of great setups in the market right now, so make sure you guys stick around to the end of the video. And if you are new here, don't forget to subscribe. We post brand new videos every single day. But with that being said, Tom, what happened in the market today?
Yeah, the big news is the run-up was CCIV up 31% from open to close, and it was just an awesome run all the way up to $55, and it's just been amazing for Lucid. There's been a lot of news over the past few months of them possibly doing a SPAC deal with CCIV, and that's what's really driving CCIV up right now is that Lucid is that deal with Lucid, and obviously CCIV has been having a lot of hype around it with this deal, especially over the past few months. Like you can see this stock went from around $9.60 all the way up to 55. So there's definitely been a lot of hype, especially over the past couple days as this hype starts to heat up even more.
For sure. So this is like a definitely a play to watch out for. One, it's a SPAC, and we all know SPACs have been super hot this year. And another thing is it's also an EV company. So Lucid is an EV company. So yeah, I mean, it's just definitely a stock to keep on your radar. The only thing I would watch out for is it ran up quite a lot lately, and also the implied volatility is around 207%. So their options are going to get pretty expensive right now. So just watch out for that.
Here's actually a picture of their car. So Lucid is definitely no slouch in the EV market. Their cars actually look pretty good. And I think that once they actually get some traction going, this will actually help them. They're only at $55 right now. They have some competition like with LI, for example, and also with NIO. It seems like that they're pretty similar in price. And I just think that they could possibly do a lot better than some of these companies, especially with the way that their cars look.
Yeah, and then Tesla too, of course. You know, they're definitely the big EV stock to watch out for. But what else happened in the market today?
Yeah, CNBC actually reports that the Biden administration won't rule out a response to a rocket attack in Iraq, saying the president of the United States and the administration reserves the right to respond in a timely manner of our choosing, said White House Press Secretary Jen Psaki. Yeah, the attack in the region killed one civilian contractor and injured 9 more people, including a U.S. service member, according to Colonel Wayne Murado, a spokesman for the coalition fighting ISIS. And at least three rockets hit near the civilian Erbil International Airport late Monday night, and that's what's causing this. And this could be a really big deal in the markets. You can see VXX kind of like held its ground today and started to go green. If this like black swan event starts to take hold, and there's any type of retaliation against Iraq for this, there will be some movement in the market with that. It's came every other time that there's been a rocket attack. It seems like VXX and the SPY has pretty much went hand in hand. The VXX would go up and then the SPY would go down with those attacks.
So that's horrible news to hear. In terms of the market, though, I remember there was also a rocket attack last year, I think in March, and the markets obviously fell after that, but also that had to do with COVID too. But either way, Tom, I like how you're pointing out the VIX and how it held its ground today. Depending on what the White House's actions are from this catalyst, can just depend on how the VIX moves over the next couple days to the next couple weeks. So, Tom, I know there's a lot of hype going on with Bitcoin right now. What's going on there?
Yeah, I actually just pull up TradingView, and this is with Coinbase actually on here, but you can see Bitcoin actually did pop above $50,000 like we were talking about. Ended up hitting 50,613 or 50,635, somewhere right around there. It's just an awesome thing to see Bitcoin popping like this. It did pull back though, back down to 48,500, but hopefully it can kind of hold 50K. I hope that this is not like a long-term resistance. You saw whenever we hit 20K, we hit that and then ended up falling. Hopefully 50K is not one of those big levels with Bitcoin, because we've had a lot of momentum to the upside over the past year or so. And I think that we could be due for another pullback, kind of like we saw over the past couple of years, how Bitcoin was hovering around 3,000 to 7,000 and then started popping back up to here.
Interesting. So, Tom, like we said in yesterday's video, we told everyone to watch out for MARA RIOT, and GBTC. So if we take a look at the first one, RIOT, it's up 20% today, opened higher and then just continued to run. MARA has a similar scenario. And then GBTC was a little bit more volatile throughout the day, but it's still up. So whenever Bitcoin has a lot of movement, definitely keep your eye on those three stocks. They tend to follow Bitcoin, like especially when it runs up.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Bitcoin's just an awesome thing lately. It's up a lot. These stocks, like you said, their momentum plays pretty much. Just treat them like that. I wouldn't necessarily buy them and hold them for the long term. As you can see, like whenever they do end up falling, whenever I go to the daily chart, you can see that they do end up falling pretty steeply. Like how GBTC, for example, was at 48.58 and then fell all the way down to 30, and then now is back up to 52 just over the past couple weeks.
For sure. So what's going on with the earnings for this week?
Yeah, there's actually some tomorrow, and the big ones are actually going to be TLRY, which is Tilray in the marijuana sector. A lot of people are looking out for that one. BIDU, Baidu. This one's been running up, breaking new highs here at 326.50. They're having earnings as well tomorrow. And then the last one's actually Twilio, which is TWLO. They report tomorrow as well. And a lot of these stocks are at all-time highs right now, and they're running. So just keep in mind that these earnings could affect this. And honestly, they could be pretty good plays after the earnings, especially if the earnings actually make them reverse and start heading back to the downside. You could get some pretty good potential on some puts there.
Awesome. Well, let's get right into our Discord member of the day and then the momentum plays. So today's member of the day is Constantine. So huge shout out to Constantine. Thank you so much for being an active and positive member of the Stocked Up Discord server. We really appreciate it. And now let's get right into our momentum plays. With the first one, Tom, you already know CCIV.
Yeah, with CCIV, just make it break above the high of today, which is $55.
Sounds good. And that one's pretty volatile, so just be careful. With the next one, we have CCL.
Yeah, I've actually been liking a lot of these Carnival Cruise Lines and all these other ones like NCLH and also the airlines to the upside over the past couple weeks, but make them break above 22.56.
All right, with the next one, we have Boeing.
Boeing, go ahead and make them actually break above the high of the past couple days, which was 217.50.
Sounds great. So we're eyeing all these plays potentially to the upside tomorrow, only if they can break above the levels Tom listed, just for quick in and out day trades. But now let's get right into the $12 million trade for this Friday. We are looking at the ZM 450 strike call options that expire this Friday, February 19th. So looking at Zoom, I love it for the long term. I still think it's at some pretty good levels. It hit a pretty hard resistance intraday today. It was actually at 451, you could say 452. I think it has a lot of potential, but for the short term, I'm kind of neutral on it. I love it for the long term, but this option is about $7 out of the money right now, and it is only a weekly option. There's only 3 days left of time in it. I'm not a huge fan of it for the short term. What are you thinking?
Yeah, I think it's a pretty risky trade. They did actually hit 450 intraday today and then pull back. Maybe if it keeps stair-stepping up, it could pass above that tomorrow and it would be good. And then that would mean that they're longing it. But like you said, it hit 450 and it's been going up so much over the past few days. I would think that it would have to start to pull back eventually here. But man, it just looks like that stock's running. And if it does break that 450 level, then I think that it could end up going up tomorrow. And I would just kind of treat it as a little momentum play.
Yeah, and then 450 is also a psychological resistance level, like those like $100, 200, 300, 400, 500, and then 450, 550. They're definitely resistance levels. So just keep an eye out for that. I can see back on Back on November 3rd, it actually bounced off of 450 pretty well. So just keep an eye on that level. It is a pretty significant resistance level. But now let's get right into our questions from the previous episode. With the first comment, we have Justin saying, another great video, guys. I think I've only missed a couple videos in the last 6 months. Well, that's awesome. Then he asked, when you buy a call option and are doing very well with it and want the 100 shares, can you use the money in that option to exercise it, or do you have to have that money in your buying power? So most brokers will require you to have that money in your buying power, but it just depends on your broker. But to be safe, you're going to want to have that money cash, in your broker, in your buying power. and you'll definitely be able to exercise that option. So for those who don't understand that, let's say we look at, I don't know, let's say we look at CCL, right? This stock is trading at around $22.50. Let's say you buy a 25 strike call option and the stock goes up to $30, right? Obviously, you would be up a lot of money on your call option. But let's say, you know what, you think CCL is going to do great in the long term, and you just like their stock for the long term, and you actually want the shares. What you can do is you could just exercise that call option, and you'll just buy 100 shares of CCL at $25 each, or whatever your strike price is. So generally, it could be a good strategy, but you're definitely just going to want to have that money freed up in your buying power. With the next question, we have a ton of people asking about Palantir. So Tom, this stock kind of took a beating today, down about 13% on earnings. Overall, I mean, a lot of people are talking about it. I know it has a lot of hype this past year, and I'm going to give my input in a minute, but first I want to hear yours.
Yeah, I mean, I'm really going to be looking off of this level here of $25. It looks like it's heading back down to that support. I'm really going to watch for it to hit that. I think it could hit that. It's at 27 now. It's getting pretty close. I actually don't like the stock in the short term, especially with how the earnings just happened. I'm just not a big fan of it. Hopefully, it can kind of turn back around. I think that for the long term, it'll be a good stock to pick up, but right now, I just personally wouldn't play it.
Yeah, so I like it for the long term, but this earnings can be a huge buying opportunity. So only if you like Palantir for the long term, consider this trade, but only if you like it for the long term. Now, it's looking pretty good for a cash secured put setup. Basically, what you can do is, let's say you like it for the long term and you say, you know what? I'd love to get Palantir at the $24 level, right? Or you can pick any level. You could pick 26, you can pick 30, you can pick 15, pick whatever you want, but let's say 24. And let's say you go out to the March 19th expiration, you can sell a 24 strike put right now for about $190. Basically, if Palantir is below $24 by the expiration date, all you get to do is you get to buy 100 shares of Palantir at $24 each, and then you also get to keep the $190. As long as you like Palantir, even if it shoots down all the way down to 20, if you like it for the long term, it doesn't really matter because you still got it for a good price. Let's say Palantir stays above 24. You're just going to keep your $190 and run. It's a huge win-win only if you like Palantir for the long term. So overall, I really like it for a cash secured put setup, especially with this movement after earnings.
Yeah, it's actually a pretty good trade and it's cheap as well. And like you said, I really like that like 25 or $26 put. You can make quite a bit of money on that. Yeah, I think you said the 24 actually. That's a really good put there. I think that that's just an awesome trade, especially for the long term, like you said. And if you have a lot of capital freed up, you could even like if it keeps going down, you can sell it twice. So you could get the shares here at 25 and then get them again at 20 and then at 15. And then you're in for the long term at a really low price. But keep in mind, you'd be averaging down quite a bit there.
For sure. And I just want to clarify, a cash secured put is completely different from just buying the put. A cash secured put is basically where you are shorting the put. With the next question, we have Lake saying, Mike and Tom, what do you think about KSS for upward movement this week? So taking a look at KSS, it's been consolidating for the past couple days. If we look at Max weekly chart, they're doing okay. I'm not a huge fan of this setup. Do you have any thoughts on this one?
Yeah, I mean, it's actually riding right above the 1,000 SMA and right on that $50 level. It looks like it could actually start to pop back up here, but it looks like it has recovered quite a bit this year. Earnings are coming up. Maybe it can head up into earnings and then start to fall back down. Hopefully it can keep going up, but with how much it recovered, I would not be surprised if it started to kind of consolidate and go sideways.
Sounds good. With the next question, we have A saying, "Hey Mike and Tom, great video as always. Can you please take a look into FSR and any suggestions on SPY puts for this week?" So FSR is popping pretty well. It's up about 2.5% today. It had an amazing day on Friday. I know they have some things going on with EVs and stuff like that. Do you have any thoughts here?
Yeah, I mean, it's an EV company. It's not my favorite EV company. They are priced pretty low, though. I think they could be good for the long term. It's a pretty well known company, though, Fisker. I would say just watch out. It is up quite a bit. Be very careful around the $22 level. It's bounced off of it a couple times in the past and then went down, and we're getting pretty close to it now.
All right, and then they were also asking about SPY puts. So it really depends if like you're looking at this for a day trade or a swing trade or what. But I would also take a look at like BXX calls. You can pick those up pretty cheap, and then also you can like pick some of these up for a great price, and they're in the money, and you can get some good time on them. So I definitely wouldn't rule out the VIX. Right now, the options are pretty well priced, so I would definitely take a look at that. With the next question, we have Elias saying, "Hey guys, what do you think of JDST stock?" So taking a look at it, it is a leveraged inverse ETF. It follows gold. I definitely would not hold this for the long term because it is leveraged. It could be good on days where gold is down. So, for example, if we look at GLD, it's down about 1.5% today. And if we look at JDST, it's up a little over 4%. So, Tom, I know you like talking about gold and different ETFs, so I'll let you take it from here.
Yeah, I really like gold, and I think that gold could start falling. So JDST could do pretty well actually over the short term, but if we go to the long term, you can see it's really not good. It has tons of different like reverse splits and just different rules like that. It's always going to fall in the long term, given that it's leveraged. And there's also the inverse with JNUG. But I do think though that in the short term, this could do pretty well. There's a high here at 1097 or right around 11. If it passes above that, it could be a good trade. GLD is starting to look like it could start to fall, especially in the longer term.
Sounds good. Well, Tom, do you have any last minute stocks, options, or any insight for the market for tomorrow?
Yeah, I'm really liking, like you said earlier, the Carnival cruise lines, the cruise lines like NCLH, CCL, and even the airlines like AAL and UAL. I think that these stocks could do pretty well. I like those. And I also think that Tilray could do pretty good tomorrow with earnings, especially if they have like a good outlook with it being legalized and stuff. But we'll just have to see what happens.
Sounds good. And I'm watching Twitter. So this stock has had a ton of green days in a row. It's running up a lot lately. The thing with these setups is I think it had, let me see, it had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. It had 11 green days in a row. They sound, like when you hear that, you probably think, oh, it's probably going to pull back soon, which it definitely can, but it definitely can keep running up too. I'm just eyeing it out right now. I'm looking for a shift in momentum. If we see like a red day come, or if we just see it making lower highs, I would definitely look to play the pullback on this setup, but you don't want to jump in too early with it because it can definitely keep running up and it has a ton of momentum. So I'm just eyeing out Twitter for the next couple days. But with that being said, thank you guys so much for watching. If you want to trade with Tom and I every single day, you can click the first link in the description down below. If you are new here, don't forget to subscribe. We post brand new videos every single day. And if you have any questions, let us know in the comments down below. But other than that, thanks for watching.